Hey, I'm Dean and this is Legacy Voyage. In Season 1, I'm documenting my journey to earning my first 100K net worth as a full-time college student. Join me as I share some of the lessons I learned along the way. Okay, I'm out because I just wrapped up school. And that's a wrap for the first year at Northwestern. And I've learned a lot, especially coming out there, first year of college, being on my own, no family around. So I really learned a lot of things that I wish I knew before I went to college that I'm just learning right now as I'm out here. I think for this episode, I'll share three of the secrets that I learned, which I think really helped me, which I learned as I was out there and have really helped me now. I still got to work on these things too. But one piece of advice is that you're going to be okay. As a rising senior, you're going into freshman year of college, and then you're thinking about what's my major going to be, what's my career going to be, and you're thinking ahead about all these things. And as you look around at all your classmates, they're decided on their major, they're decided on their career path, they have an internship lined up, they have all these things that they already know they want to do, and they're going to go out and do it. And then here you are, switching majors, switching up careers, completely shifting your entire life. And that's literally how I was. Came in as a freshman, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a software engineer or something like that. Because I really like programming, I really like coding. And I came in as a computer science major at the engineering school. And when I came in, I was like, you know what? Switch it up. Then I eventually switched up all the way to being an econ bro, where now I'm majoring economics, pursuing finance, business type things. And as I was doing that, I was looking around at my other classmates. There's one person who already knew what he wanted to do. He already knows that he's going to go into this field. He has an internship lined up, summer plans. It's like, man. And it's tough, especially as a freshman, when you look around and see all these people who look like they know what they're doing. But the piece of advice is that you're going to be okay. You can switch up majors super early on in your college career. You'll be fine. And then especially with schoolwork and balancing everything, like you have school, social life, and then personal health. I think those are the big three pillars in college. And it's, for me at least, it was super hard bringing anything else into my life. Like as soon as I added a fourth pillar, then it was really, since something else had to give, because it was hard to balance everything. Which is something that I really just discovered being out here, is that I want to become an academic weapon. So I've been reading a couple books on how to do well in school. But first, let me define it and let me explain why exactly I want to be an academic weapon. Being in high school, I always just did well in school because I had a natural talent towards school and doing my work and all that stuff. And if a class was hard, then I would just focus more on it, put more effort into it, and then I would be fine in the end. What I found coming out here to college is that if I try that same tactic, if I have a tough class and I just put more effort into it, then it turns out in 4 hours of studying, but I'm not really getting anything out of it. An example is my first quarter out here. I was taking the economics class, and I was really struggling with it. I had a tough time, never taken econ before, so I did the same thing that I usually did, is I just put more effort into it. So I took out my notes and I just read through it like 3 hours in a row. And then once the midterm came, I didn't remember any of the stuff that I already studied, so I just started cramming for that midterm. And then in the end, I didn't do very well on the midterm. So these things that I did in high school, they did not work when I was in college. And I really only started discovering this stuff at the end of this past quarter. And especially reading a book that I'm reading right now, it's called How to Become a Straight A Student. Which on the surface, I'm like, because I've seen this book before. On the surface, it seems like this thing is a complete waste of time. Why would anyone want to do this? But here's the reason why I want to become an academic weapon. And all academic weapon is someone who does well in school without pouring hours and hours into their studying, into their projects and schoolwork. It's someone who can score super well on tests, who can do super well on essays without pouring hours and hours into their work. And what this does is it opens up different possibilities, different areas of your life that you can start focusing on. Like I said before, the three pillars coming into college, for me at least, it was school, took up a whole bunch of time. Then it was personal health, which was just like mental health, physical health, things like that. And the third one would be social life. I think those three things really take up, or at least for me, it took up so much time that whenever I try to add an extra project in there, or a personal project, or whenever I try to add something like that, something would crumble. Usually was my personal health, mental and physical. If you're an academic weapon, it makes school way easier. Like if I can go to school and I don't have to pull any all-nighters, if I don't have to cram 4 hours before an exam, then imagine how much time I would have on my hands that I could be using for other stuff that I actually want to do. For example, a close friend of mine, he really wants to pursue music, but it's tough being in school, having those three pillars: your social life, personal health, and school. But if you can become an academic weapon, and if you can, or at least if he can make school just way easier, that he can add in something else. If he can add in music as one of those pillars, then all four of them can stand. And that's really why I want to become an academic weapon. So I can start using that extra time that I would have on my hands for things that are outside of school. So I think over these next few episodes, I'm going to really be diving into what it takes to become an academic weapon. And then once I get back to school, I'm about to kill it. Another lesson that I learned when I was out there was to not be afraid of having tough conversations. So by nature, I'm a very relaxed and chill person. I'm very non-confrontational, which is good in that I can get along with everyone and I can be chill with whoever. But it sucks because, like for example, first quarter coming in here, roommates were assigned, and I'm very chill with all my roommates. But for the first couple weeks, my roommates, they would be staying up super late on the weekends. Like 2 a.m. would be an early night for them on the weekends. And I was so dead tired. Oh, I remember coming into my room, ready to fall asleep. And then all I hear is blasting music. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And here I am trying to be non-confrontational. I don't want to talk to them about it. And I did not want to be that dude who's like, hey, can we turn on the lights and turn off the music? I'm really trying to get some sleep here. I don't want to be that guy. So what I decided to do was take my pillow and blanket, go in the living room and knock out. And at the time, I really did not think anything was wrong with that. Looking back at it, I definitely should have done something about it. But I didn't think anything was wrong with it. So they kept doing this. I remember one week where I literally slept on the couch for like 3 days in a row because I was so afraid to talk to them. And then I remember talking with one of the upperclassmen. He was like, look, Dean, if you don't talk to them about this thing that's bothering you, then that's on you because you're not communicating that with them. I was like, you know what? He's right. It's my fault for not talking with them, for not communicating this with them. And if I tell them, hey, trying to get some sleep, if you guys should keep it down, if I tell them that and they don't listen, then that's on them. But if I don't bring up the issue in the first place and they have no idea that I'm trying to sleep and they have no idea that this thing is bothering me, then that's on me. So then I finally worked up the courage to talk to them. And it was such a chill conversation. It basically went like this. I was like, hey, sometimes you guys are up and I'm trying to sleep, and if y'all keep it down around like 12-ish, On the weekends, you can go a little later, but I'm usually trying to get some sleep, so that'll be super helpful. And they were literally like, "Oh, of course, Dean. Dude, just say the word. We'll shut it all off. We'll turn it all down." And from that point forward, I had no issues at all. And thinking back about it, I was like, man, I wish I would have just said something earlier because we worked everything out so quickly. So that was one of the other big lessons that I learned while being at college. And I'm really excited being out here in Cali. Well, for the life update, I'm out here in Cali for the summer. So I'm planning to just learn everything that my dad's doing with his assisted living business and then work on a project from a real estate private equity firm. So I'm excited to be doing all of that. And then being out here in California, I remember one of the books I read called Atomic Habits. It really focused on how your environment impacts your habits. So for example, back in I think the Vietnam War, there was a huge opioid epidemic over there. Like a lot of American soldiers, they went over there super addicted to opioid, and people were getting worried. People were like, "Oh my goodness, if they come back here to America, then we're gonna have a opioid opioid epidemic." I think that's how you say it, opioid. We're gonna have an epidemic of drugs, and but what actually happened is that once they came back, their addiction was gone. So what this really showed was how vital, how important your environment is, and how if you change your environment, that's one of the easiest ways to completely reset your habits, to completely change all the things that you're doing. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to come out here to Cali to really hone in and focus in on everything. Like I really want to focus in on my discipline, trying to really build a good schedule so I'm not just sleeping whenever and waking up at 2 p.m. I also really want to focus in on my health as well, tone in on my diet. In college, it was really off the rails. And being out here, I'm actually really excited because for the past couple of days, I've been on it. I think the issue I had with being out there for college is that I really didn't want to track my food and try other ways. Like, I've tried intermittent fasting, I've tried one meal a day, I've tried just protein, nothing else. But all of that seemed to fail. But what really, because I'm by nature a numbers person, I'm a very logical and mathematical type of guy. So tracking my food for me is the easiest way to be on track. Is the easiest way for my diet because I know exactly what I'm putting into my body. I know exactly what I need to eat, and I'm tracking my progress. If something's off, then I could adjust. That's really the easiest thing for me. And coming out here, I make my own food, so I know exactly what I'm eating. So here's my plan. I think I'm just gonna share my fitness journey along the way, how I'm approaching losing weight, how I'm approaching lowering my body fat percentage. The first thing, I'm dropping my calories. I think they're at 2,200 to 2,400 right now. 2,400 calories. Planning to hit the gym as much as I can. And the workouts are like your basic compounds, bench press and squats. And I'm staying away from deadlifts because deadlifts hurt my back because my form is bad on deadlifts. But trying to add those compound movements in the gym and then getting as much walks as I can. Get those. My goal is 12,000 steps, and I'm on a walk right now, which I'm trying to build into one of my habits is walking and podcasting at the same time. That way I can get both things done that I want to get done. So yeah, that's my goal. I came out here at 230 pounds. I'm planning to leave at 215, but the 215 is going to be a lot lower body fat percentage. So that's the goal. And I'll try to be as open, as honest as I can. Like for example, when I first got here, there were crumble cookies right on the table. I was like, oh my goodness. Cookies are literally my weakness. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, I freaking attacked those cookies. It was no buenos. But now that I'm tracking everything, I think it'll make it a lot easier to have a cookie once in a while. But yeah, I'm excited being out here, man. I know it's been a while since my last podcast, and it's just been a combination of like I was saying, I had 3 pillars, and I was focusing on those 3 things. And this past quarter, one of them had to give, and it was the podcast, those personal projects. But now that I'm out here, no more school, I can start focusing on other things that I want to do. Like I really want to learn Tongan, so I'm trying to learn that, and then dive into how to become an academic weapon, which I want to share all the lessons and advice that I'm gonna start implementing this next school year. I want to share it with everyone because I think if we all become academic weapons, oh my goodness, imagine how much easier life would be. Oh, it would be so much easier. That's the goal, man. But that's everything for this podcast. And before I leave, I really just want to reemphasize how I'm not perfect in any of the things that I'm talking about, which is why I also had imposter syndrome when I was doing this podcast because I was sharing these things as if I was so knowledgeable and I did everything perfectly. And I was always did everything right all the time, which is not at all it's not at all true because I make mistakes, I fall off the diet, I procrastinate, I do all these things. But these are just pieces of advice that I'm sharing. I wish I knew these things before I came to school and I could start applying it then. But I'm trying to document my journey along the way, and this is how I'm going to do it. So yeah, I'm happy that I was able to get a podcast episode in today. I've been pushing it off for a while now. But yeah, that's everything. I'll see you in the next episode. Tatok